So the forgotten civil war has been reignited. What does it mean for the world? In this case, we don't have to guess, we simply have to look at the last decade because the concerns and the impacts remain the same. Number one is refugees. Syria is the largest refugee crisis in the world since the year 2011. More than 14 million people have fled their homes. 14 million fresh fighting means more refugees. Concern number two, Syria is a tinderbox of foreign forces. Look at all the countries deployed there. You've got the Russian forces, you've got Iranian militia, you've got Hezbollah fighters, around 900 American soldiers, dozens of Turkish troops, and in the skies Israeli fighter jets. All these powers are involved in Syria. They have their own strategic goals there. Russia and Iran are fighting for President Assad. They support him. Turkey is backing the rebels, and the US is targeting extremist groups. So different and opposing goals, which make Syria a tinder box. And finally, concern number 3a, possible resurgence of the Islamic State, or ISIS. You may remember what happened in the last decade. The Syrian Civil War led to instability and chaos. ISIS used that chaos to expand its grip. They set up a caliphate across Syria and Iraq. At one point, ISIS controlled 1/3 of Syrian territory. It became their own kingdom of terror. They plotted attacks from their radicalized people on the internet and retreated to safety when attacked. It took a massive multinational coalition to defeat the ISIS, but if the fighting escalates again, who knows? ISIS may rise from the ashes. These are the three main concerns for the global community: another refugee crisis, a proxy war, and a resurgent ISIS. Now you can add some of the usual West Asian variables to this, like rising oil prices and more military deployments. Simply put, this is a conflict you should care about. It has global financial and security implications. Now let's meet the main players. First is Turkey. When the anti-Assad protest first broke out in 2011, Ankara supported it. It supported the protesters. President Erdogan of Turkey wanted to topple Bashar al-Assad. He hosted Syrian opposition leaders. He also welcomed 3.6 million Syrian refugees. But Assad was not Erdogan's only enemy in Syria. The country is also home to Kurdish political and military groups. Erdogan considers them to be terrorists. He has launched cross-border attacks on these Kurdish groups. So Turkey's position is quite clear. They don't like Assad and they don't like the Kurds, so they're backing the rebels, the same rebels who just took control of Aleppo. Erdogan has not said anything about this operation, but chances are he knew about it. The rebels would not take such a big step without his approval, which brings us to the second player, Russia. Moscow is an ally of the Assad regime. When the war broke out, they began sending weapons and advisors. Then, in 2015, Russia intervened directly. They launched airstrikes on rebel positions, which made Assad's job easier. And what did Putin gain from this intervention, this operation? A major foothold in West Asia, but the latest tensions will worry him. Russian media is talking about a deep conspiracy. They believe that Ukraine, Turkey, France, and the US and Israel plotted this escalation in Syria. Why? To turn Russia's attention away from Ukraine. Well, the logic checks out, but there is absolutely no proof. And speaking of attention, the same can be said of Assad's other ally, Iran. Until 2015, threatened kept Assad's regime afloat. Their proxy Hezbollah fought for Assad's army. Iran also recruited Shia from Pakistan, Afghanistan, and Iraq, and all these fighters were key to Assad's success. They brought experience and weapons into his army. Just one problem, though: Iran's focus is elsewhere. Right now, Hezbollah fighters returned when Israel attacked Lebanon, and Iran pulled back its militia as tensions rose. So as Ass's army lost its backbone, the air support from Russia was gone, and the ground support from Iran was much weaker. So the rebels decided to strike. Today, the foreign ministers of Turkey and Iran met in Ankara. Their differences were pretty clear. Iran blamed Israel and the US for last week's escalation. Turkey said don't blame foreign interference.
According to the information we obtained, the terrorist organizations operating in Syria are in close relation and coordination with America and the Zionist regime. These groups have been encouraged to create an environment of insecurity in Syria with the aim of distracting from the Zionist regime's crimes in Palestine.
It would be a mistake at this time to try to explain the events in Syria by any foreign interference. This is a mistake that those who do not want to understand Syria's realities take refuge in.
The question is what happens next. Russia has rushed air support to Syria. Some Iranian militias have also returned, so the regime is trying to fight back, but any counter-offensive will take time to unfold. By then the rebels will be looking to capture more territory. They have dealt a deadly blow to Assad, not just militarily but also politically. Assad was in control of more than 60% of Syrian territory. He was back in the Arab fold. The perception was that he was on the verge of winning this war, but clearly he's at the mercy of Iran and Russia. Much like the civilian regime that collapsed in Afghanistan without foreign support, Bashar al-Assad cannot survive. Thanks for watching this video.